first. Perfect. So as I mentioned, my name is Bacter. I'm associated with this company called Folio 3. So Folio 3 is a software development company and all that. We do a lot of things, develop different kind of softwares and different kind of solutions over the years. West Coast based. By the way, are you traveling a lot or still um, uh, within the more I would say Cedar Falls, Waterloo side at the moment, or are you traveling?
I'm home right now.
Okay, okay, all right. So Folio 3 is based primarily a more West Coast based company, but we do have presence across the globe. We do have a lot of resources across the world. Nonetheless, and what we've done over the years is created a solution called AgriERP. It's an agriculture product, nonetheless, and we're transitioning into the industry, trying to educate our audience and trying to bridge that gap. So I'm the product director for that particular product as well. So we can share more information about it. So so the structure of this meeting is just you share us some background information about yourself, where you're coming from, and I have some questions. We can do a Q&A kind of a session, and
Hmm.
just wanted to understand about your thought process. What are your insights on the discussion topics? Is that okay?
Hmm. Yeah.
Sure. So a bit of background for our audience, where you coming from, what was your journey all about, and how you end up doing agriculture marketing at the end.
Hmm. Yeah. Um, you want me to go?
Yeah, sure.
I used to farm. I have a background. I'm from California originally. I don't have a farm background there, so I did not grow up on a farm. But I ended up moving to Iowa in 2020, and ended up just through a couple happenstance circumstances, ended up farming, and my whole world kind of got flipped upside down. And it was kind of just like, oh, the whole world is actually runs on the food system, and I just didn't really think about that or know that. And so I farmed for a while and started to realize, oh shoot, there's a reason that you know there's a reason that people don't know about their food, is because ag's actually pretty bad at marketing itself, and the publicity that has been done in the past for agriculture has not done a lot to serve this industry well. And so I knew that if I ever wanted to kind of get into the industry in the long term, I couldn't just work as a farmhand. I needed to do something. And so that's kind of where the marketing stuff came in. I was like, I think I can run a good marketing company that really serves this industry while also still spending a lot of my time and resources reinvesting in the industry and trying to like move it forward. And that's kind of what's been the big thing for me the past few years, is kind of building this company so that I can continue to go and serve agriculture in a way that helps it a lot. So
Wow, awesome. So pandemic has definitely taken a toll on your life as well, right? Is that safe to assume? The
I
COVID
would say
journey 2020.
it brought me here,
Oh,
and I think
awesome.
it helped me get to where I am now. So it happened. I'll live with it.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, tell us more about Atlas Media Group. So you're is that something which you founded yourself or being associated? How does that came into being, and what are you currently doing within Atlas Media?
Yeah, I started it myself. It was the fruit of farming and realizing, oh, I think I need to do more for this industry. And so kind of just struck out on my own a few years ago, and it was pretty slow at first because I committed to only doing agriculture stuff. Um, and so we won't work with any other sort of business whatsoever. We do social media marketing, video, photo, influencer marketing. We're very focused on the next generation of folks in ag, and those are the future customers of this industry. So we put a lot of energy and effort into them. Um, but yeah, like the whole purpose behind it is to share agriculture story, and so that's why we exist. We've been able to grow from just me a few years ago to we're at 10 team members now, and we're going to keep growing here in the future, just because we know there's a lot of work that needs to be done. So that's kind of the goal, is, hey, let's share ag story and let's build a great team to do that, and run a successful marketing company at the same time.
Absolutely. And correctly said, as you earlier mentioned, that ag industry as compared to other industries like healthcare, automotive, manufacturing, they're pretty much laid back when it comes to publicity, the marketing, the promotions, or branding as well, right? So, what are the key challenges you faced when you get into this industry, and which particular areas were the toughest to? Is the audience is not technology savvy as compared to others? Are they have their own pros and cons in that particular area? So it's a two-part question. So I'll start with the your journey within the ag industry, and then what were the solutions and how you overcome that aspects
Mhm.
accordingly.
Um, yeah, I think the hardest part getting in is just not knowing what's going on. Um, I think if I really think about it, the barrier to entry is the terminology and just the sheer amount of knowledge it takes to get into this
Mm.
industry. Just because it is very complicated. You're not going to be able to build a rocket on day one working for a rocket company. It's complicated. Farming is very much the
Mm.
same way. You're not going to be able to walk in and just know everything day one. You can pick things up, but I mean, I've been doing this, traveling around the country, seeing different things. I still feel like I know. I know less every single day compared to the day before because I just learned that there's a whole new part of the industry that needs to learn about and continue to increase my knowledge of. So,
Interesting, interesting. And in terms of so I'll now take a different direction and get into 2025 precisely, right?
mhm,
Talking about from a geo-economical, social stance more.
mhm.
What are the key challenges do you think is emerging within the industry within 2025 and moving forward as well, right? So, what are the challenges which farmers are facing, agriculture companies are facing, and uh, also essentially companies who are servicing the ag industry is facing?
I think we're running out of young people who want to be interested in this industry. I think we are going to start to see kind of I think we're going to start to see some of the companies have hiring problems at the younger ages. Unless you can compensate people really well or you have a really compelling benefits package. I think a lot of younger guys are thinking I could just go to a different industry where it's a little easier to make it. 2025, we're kind of in a downturn. And so hiring's already kind of slow right now, or there's layoffs going around. And so I think there's a lot of young people that are getting pushed away or burnt out that I think we're going to start seeing more of this year. I think we'll start to see some of the problems that causes. I think we're going to start. Um, we as an industry are going to have to start becoming way more competitive when it comes to hiring good talent and finding the right people. I don't know. I don't think there's people lining up at the door to jump in right now. I think there's guys who say they want to, but it's for sure not easy enough for most people to want to get interested
Agreed,
in.
agreed, agreed, agreed. Being associated with the industry, I can vouch for that for definitely. Okay, now taking a direction towards technology, as how important technology is playing a role within this industry. We know it's slow at adapting technology from a perspective, from a future perspective, but it's getting its due turn thanks to companies like yours, ours, who are doing work in the innovation sector. So, do you think technology is taking the right route? Innovation is happening within the agriculture industry, and AgTech agriculture technology has become a new phenomena as well, right? That uh, creating different kind of egg-specific technologies. Uh, do you think is it taking the right spiral in the right trajectory? And what are your thoughts on it from a holistic point of view?
I think ag tech really wants to be like Apple and Google, or the IBMs of the world. They want to come out this big, they want to create the technology that's going to change the world and be the next big thing. I think the problem is all of to get it to market, to take an ag tech product to market, you have to narrow down so much to the point where only a few people can actually really justify getting it. It's hard to, at a broad scale, get people interested in ag tech because ag is so complicated. You might be able to get one sector of growers really interested, but bringing that to the next sector is going to cost another $50 million. So I think the
Mm.
day-to-day use for most ag tech technologies is not as high as ag tech companies would like it, because to make it useful, it has to be very specific. There's no broad sweeping, hey, this is, the iPhone of the ag tech world. We don't have that because ag is so complicated. And so because of that, guys, I think, are slower to adopt, because it's like, hey, I only get a couple months out of the year to grow my crop. I can only fiddle around with so many new things before I'm too busy. And so they have to be very picky about what they choose, because at the end of the day, they have to, the next time they can try is 12 months. So they got to say, okay, I'm going to try this new thing. I'm going to try this new thing. I'm going to try this new thing. But I can't try these other two things I want because, I'm already too busy. And so I think there's yet to be an ag tech that's like we got this, this is going to be the thing that, we're all going to get behind, because to make money as an ag tech company, you have to be focused. I think that's the biggest divide, is like, we want to reach everyone, but we have to be focused to actually turn a profit in the short term. We can't continue to dump money into a product that doesn't make money. We can't just throw investment dollars at something that doesn't make money forever. So we have to figure out how to make money. And so because of that, I think there is this disconnect, because it's going to take a long time for some of these ag tech companies to get to the point where they can cover a broad part of agriculture. So I don't know. I think the adoption thing is a thing that will take care of itself in time as softwares continue to get better and tech continues to get better. But I think the space itself is still so full of investor money and so full of like, hey, what could be, that we haven't figured out what's actually going to work yet.
No, that's definitely an interesting take, and I really like the part that it's not consumer driven totally, just like Apple's or Google's are, right? So it's kind of like a niche under niche, vertical, sub-vertical, and it has its own nuances, it has its own nomenclature, right? And its own language from a farmer's perspective. But do
Mhm.
you think it is getting to a point where it's contributing value to the industry altogether in terms of IoTs? I believe you do work with some of the manufacturing companies, some hardware companies like John Deere or Massey Ferguson's, all those kind of like farming equipment companies. So from that perspective, IoTs, sensors, different kind of indexes, satellite imageries, all those automation is coming into play. So from a holistic point of view, do you think it's contributing to that kind of value? And a sub part to that question would be, uh, and is it marketing done in the right direction if the value is contributed to the industry? Do you agree on that part?
I think we're still a few years off. I think a lot of these technologies are really, really cool. I think they're offering some value, but the problem is because it's still new, it's so expensive. And so broad
Hmm.
industry adoption can't happen until it either comes down in price or it's so good that it pays for itself for sure. And I think most guys are still on the fence for that. And I think that's where the marketing world gets some stuff wrong. It's like, hey, this technology might not be for everyone. We need to focus on who it's actually for. Hey, you farm a couple hundred acres and you have 20-year-old equipment. You don't need the newest technology. You're not our target customer. Our target customer are the guys who are buying the $1 million machines every year or every few years. Let's focus in on them as a customer before we say everyone's got to do this. Because if we do that, over time, those benefits will trickle down to, some of the smaller operators, things like that. And so I think the marketing really, they misstep in saying this is the silver bullet for everyone, where really it's like, hey, this is the perfect technology for a few you guys. Why don't you guys invest in this? And then in a few years, everyone can try it out. We're going too big too quickly without focusing in on the people who are actually going to be able to keep the company or the technology alive for the rest of the industry. See, I think there's a lot of cool technologies out there. I think the problem is these companies don't survive long enough or don't have enough investment dollars
Hmm.
behind them to reach that broad scale. They focus in on a big group of people rather than one group of people, and they spend all their money on marketing to a large group of people, when really you should have spent all your money marketing to a small group of people. You need to focus on that small group, get them to pay you first, and then start moving that circle outward, you know?
Okay, so if I get this right, so the go-to-market is very, it's very critical or complex, I would say. It's not very simplified as compared to other industries. The
Yep.
business viability is not easy. Sustainability is obviously not very easy. In your experience, in your insight, what are the most potential do you see from a growth perspective in which particular sector within the ag technology sector, right? Is it like IoTs? Is it like different kind of automation? Is it like the AI ML getting into the bandwagon? The buzzwords are going on, artificial intelligence, all those things. So what do you think are the most promising trends for this year?
Um, This year, I think there's going to be a lot of buzzword around AI. I don't think it's going to amount to much. I don't really think there's going to be a lot of usable. I don't think there's going to be a lot of usable technologies that are going to come for that yet. I think the biggest growth area is consolidation of data. Whichever company can
Mm,
bring all the farm data into one place and make it usable and make it easy to make decisions off of, that's going to be the most valuable software. That's why John Deere has been doing so well in the operations center slash farm management software. It's just because they have access to more data as a company
mm,
because they're so large than most people. But if someone can come in and say, hey, we've actually made it really easy to pull data from all the different softwares and tools you use into one location, and we maybe use AI to make that a little easier to process and digest, I think there's a huge opportunity there for smaller companies to come in and say, hey, we actually have the best data tools in the business, because that's the problem is we have data over here and we have data over here, but we don't know how it links together, or we do and it's a bunch of spreadsheets that we have to get together to work together. And so I think there's a lot of opportunity for growth there, and I know the bigger guys, the bigger operators, they really want that. They want to be able to pull open their phone and be able to know everything that's happening on their farm right now. I run a business. I like being able to pull open my phone and know everything that's happening in my company. If you as a farmer can open your phone and know everything that's happening on your farm, the amount of power you have in your pocket now is there's a lot of guys who pay a lot of money for that.
awesome, awesome. And do you think is that the same aspect for precision agriculture? Because precision agriculture has been uh, go side by side with uh, the AI ML buzz, right? So the buzzwords, the jargons, the industry jargons,
Yep.
which is quite good for the investor pitches and startup pitches and seed fundings and all that, but from a usability point of view or actual problem solving point of view, they're still far behind in reality, right? And this is something which we can agree on as we work in the particular industry. But do you think that this is something which would be leveraged more, or is it something where the actual farmers are getting some sort of a reality check and they understand now, they are technology wise aware, they are business wise aware that okay, these are buzzwords, these are not actual solutions right now, and people, as you mentioned, people are trying to consolidate softwares, integrate very holistic softwares altogether, but still very far from the actual goal where they can bring in money on that level, right? That problems
Hmm.
get solved on a very large level, small farmers can jump into it. Every state has their own dynamics, right? Every crop and produce have their own dynamics. So do you think moving forward, this is something, and how much does the political structure, the economic structure from government and the whole society contributes to these aspects within the farming and agriculture industry?
I think the overall adoption and investment is probably low, just because agriculture has been sold to so many times about so many things. Every couple years, there's a big new buzzword that burns a lot of guys. Um, and that's probably always going to happen. I think that's just the sales
Hmm.
cycle. Is something new is going to happen, bunch of guys are going to try to get rich really quick off of it and burn it for the rest of us. There's a lot of
Hmm.
software companies that have popped up in and out of ag. The problem is that a lot of them haven't stuck around for the long haul to make guys trust the industry. And so that leaves a lot of the actual innovators to have to like really up their marketing game and their sales game to actually secure customers. It's not that the industry doesn't want to adopt it. It's just they're slow to adopt because they don't want to waste their money on things, especially with the political and economic environment. Like we're in a down market right now for a lot of
Hmm.
crops. It's like, hey, most guys aren't really looking to spend a bunch of money on something they don't know is going to exist in 2 years. They want to trust that, hey, if I'm going to invest all this time and money into a software or a tech product, that this company is going to be around in the next few years to support it and make sure it's still here. The ag tech sector is known for either bankruptcies or getting bought out by another company and assimilated and everything else, which sometimes it does work out well when they get bought out and integrated into a larger business. Sometimes that works out great. A lot of times, what happens is the software gets bought out and then forgotten about and then moved into a slightly lesser version of it in the whole ecosystem of a larger company. And so, guys don't want to, they want to know that if they're going to spend $10,000 a year on a software, because that's how much this stuff costs usually, that
Hmm.
it's going to be worth their hard earned dollars. And so on a year like this, adoption is going to be way slow because they're like, we've been getting by with it just fine. We don't need to spend $10,000 on something like this. We can wait another year or two to see if that company is going to be around. And so I think for them, for the industry itself, it's a lot of let time test the product. If that company can survive 3 years and survive the test of 3 years in this industry, we'll give it a shot because we know they might be around for another 3 to 5.
Hmm.
Whereas if you pop up tomorrow with a product you've worked on for a year and say, everyone, we want you to buy into this, we want you to try it, a lot of guys are going to say, dude, you barely have been here. This industry is full of long term relationships, a bunch of companies who
Hmm.
have existed for 100 years. Like, it's food. We all need it. We always have,
Yeah,
and we will
exactly.
always need it. So these companies need to be around for the long run because we're here to grow food for the long run. We're here to all eat every day. We all have to eat.
Hmm.
And so, you know, there's a certain level of weight I think that newcomers to the industry forget about of like, hey, there's a lot of relationships that need to be built here. There's a certain element of, hey, we need to have some sort of legacy with these people we work with. We need to be around for a few years so people trust us. There's a trust issue there, I think.
No, absolutely, absolutely. Totally agree on this part. Because the dynamics is very different, right? It's relationship play, sustainability play, making sure that you are in the long run, you're not here for a small, because there is no smaller exits as compared to the technology industry or other industries where you can do an IPO, raise some funds, and then you can do an exit, right? That's not the case as far as I understand this, right? And investors are very skeptical now, at least within the downside of the market and all the
Hmm.
situation. So they are very skeptical. And one important thing within the industry, which I found out and which I face, which is not the case in other industries, it's usually family owned, very close knitted, family owned corporations, companies, right?
Hmm.
First to fourth generations working in the same company, building the same. You have done farming yourself. You know how closely knitted, family-owned corporations and companies they are, organizations as
Hmm.
well on the whole. So now coming on the concluding part, I don't want to bore you to death with a lot of boring questions, but going to your forte of marketing. Uh, so I know it's very hard, but in terms of your thought process or your specific areas when you discuss with these agriculture companies, uh, what are your thoughts? What kind of is there a positive change as how they perceive marketing, as how they perceive advertising, publications, press releases, public relations, all those things? Or is it a very slow and steady pace, or is it like a drastic exponential growth now? People are trying to get into hiring publicists, marketing companies, ad agencies, all those things.
I think when times are good, yeah. We're very next, like I said, we're very next generation focused. So there's not a lot of people that compete in the realm we do in terms of like the services or the type of services we offer. Um, so I would say yes, there is high demand. I don't think I know this year a lot of marketing budgets were cut. The newer methods of advertising are catching on slowly but surely. Um, we had tremendous growth last year because what we were selling is something not a lot of people had. And it's still that way this year, a little less so just because budgets have been cut. So, yeah, I think there's definitely a desire for more of it, but especially in ag, when the markets go down for a little bit, there is a small bit of downturn. what happens is the marketing budgets and the admin budgets are the first thing that get cut. So almost every call from all of our customers, and they didn't drop us, we were very lucky, but a lot of them were calls like, hey, just so you know, 2025 budgets are a little cut. So it's still the first thing to go. They're getting a little more in there. We're still in the age, though, where people are skeptical of social media. They know they need it, but they don't know how much they should spend on it. Kind of the same thing with websites and videos. It's like there's a lot of companies that know they need it, but they don't understand how important it really is to their business. So I'd say we're kind of like right in that middle where they're like the industry is getting there, but we're still not quite there where like people are banging down the door for marketing.
Awesome, awesome. No, no, definitely, definitely. Quite some insights, I would say. Very interesting, very informative. So we do have our own solution. Do you want me to quickly? I'll share some slides with you over the email. I don't want to make an advertisement out of it. So we do have a solution which is primarily AgTech centric and everything within the ERP domain, financial solution, farm management solution. All of
Mm-hmm.
those integrating with different partners like John Deere's, Massey Ferguson's, all those, right? So we do a lot of things. A very interesting conversation. Really glad to meet you, Clayton. It's really nice to connect with you. Do you attend a lot of conferences, events within specific industry like Ag Expo or stuff like that?
I did make it. I didn't make it into the World Ag Tech Expo this year, but I do make it to a lot of the bigger farm shows, a couple of the cattle shows. So I make my way around. I have no set schedule as to where I'm going, but I do my best to make it around. But like I can only be on a plane so often. So
No, no, no. Amazing, amazing. Really nice to connect with you. Let's stay in touch. I'll share some stuff with you. So as a next step, let me share some rules, engagement as from a structure point of view. So what we will do is analyze the discussion we had, create a blog out of it, kind of a blog, and share it for your review before publishing it. So you can review it. We will not change anything in terms of it. We will utilize quote to quote. We will utilize the recording of this session to gain the transcript and all those things and share it with you. Upon your consent, we will then publish it on our website and on our social media channels. This particular discussion. Is that okay from your side,
yeah,
sir?
go for it.
Perfect, perfect. Any questions before we conclude? I had a very good time connecting with you and learning a thing or two, indeed. So, any questions, any closing comments from a future perspective or your insights perspective?
I don't think so.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you. Really appreciate the time. Have a good day, sir. Looking
Sounds
forward to it.
good.
Cheers.
Appreciate
Bye.
it. See ya.
Bye.